We good?
I nearly think so, yes.
I can't see. I'm kind of blind on this one, so I'm relying on you for this one. All right. Do you want to practice on some devil's advocates that I had if we'd had guests that were very generic ones?
You could throw one at me, Graham. I have had one off the top of my head, but I need to workshop it a bit before I get to it. Maybe by the end of the bonus material, I'll have it ready for you. So what you got?
All right. Christian Cage versus Matt Hardy at Fighter Fest. Because their age is so bad, it's funny. It's almost the male equivalent of the Golden Girls.
Absolutely, the Golden Girls. Blanche, what an amazing person she was in that show as well. I want to go see that at some point, of course. But of course, Christian Cage and Matt Hardy, I believe they actually have it many times before, but never in AEW. But this is something that, ugh, come on, get some new stuff. We want to see Utah versus Orange Cassidy.
I have no idea for time. I'm not playing with the time. Do you say you have one for me? An extra one?
I'm still workshopping it. Carry on,
Okay.
workshop.
If Orange Cassidy were to turn heel, he should go by the name Trump Cassidy.
Absolutely. Trump Cassidy is something which a lot of people think about. You get all the Republicans watching then. You get all the MAGAs watching then. It'd be a perfect thing to do. Because then he could do the MAGA punch rather than the orange punch. It's a perfect way to do it. Make orange great again.
That's good. That's really good. All right, last one. Money in the Bank. I'm going to pass on the network this week and just keep my money in my own bank.
Absolutely. When it comes down to it, there's so many different things you could buy instead. You can buy pizzas, you can buy takeaways, and then you can go and watch Slammiversary instead. You can spend all the money that you would spend on Money in the Bank, and you can put that and a lot more money beside towards watching Slammiversary.
Now, I'm glad you talked about pizza because I actually wanted your advice on something.
No pineapple.
I know you don't think pineapple belongs on pizza, but I actually burnt an Hawaiian pizza this week, Matt. So I just wanted to know: should I have put it on a lower temperature? No reaction. Okay. Wasted on you. I saw that pun this week. I was like, "That's brilliant." I was like, "I'm going to get that in the show somewhere." And since you mentioned pizza, you
It's
probably
not.
don't even know aloha is an Hawaiian reference. It's probably what like,
Yes, that's why I shook my head, Graham.
ah,
But you're not actually close enough to
I
the screen to let me shake my head. That was
I tried.
embarrassing.
I thought that was brilliant. I was dying on my chair. I thought that was a
Alo-
guaranteed get the giggle. Boo.
Aloha temperature. Jesus Christ. Um, right. I'm still workshopping at the. I'll come to it. You know why?
Sure.
I want to talk about motorsport, Graham.
Okay.
There is something for the French motorsport venue, right? So it's in France, okay? Legendary venue, okay? I apologise if my pronunciation is a little bit off. The Circuit de Albi, um, it's about 50 miles outside of Toulon, and it's been holding motorsports events since 1962. Okay, so it's been there since 62, longer than you've been alive, Graham.
Just.
No, not just. It's longer than you've been there alive.
I know
By
you
some,
like to mock my age and put it back a few years, so I'm
I'm
just
not.
playing along with it now.
Unfortunately, the locals who have moved in since it's been built are not happy and have complained about noise pollution.
I can
So
believe
much
that.
so, so much so that the owners have been forced to pay €70,000 in fines. Uh, it breached new.
Total or per family who complained?
I'm not sure. Um, just more than that. It's 58 times between April and June in 2019. It breached noise complaints.
Oof.
Despite the owners of the circuit forking out €800,000 for noise reduction works 5 years ago. Um, Apparently, the work carried out is reported to reduce the noise to about 30%, but there are two houses near the north of the track which are subjected to noise emergencies of more than 5 decibels. Really? You moved in next to a motorsport track. You idiots. That's like the person. That's like the old little lady moving in next door, moving to a house next door to a school. Has been there for 100 years. They complaining because there's kids walking to school past her every morning. We actually had that at our school.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I have no sympathy with someone who moves in next to a fucking racetrack. if the racetrack had just freshly been built after you've been there for after you've been there for like years and years and years, I'd have sympathy for you. But no, this track's been there since the 60s. Get a life. Cheese.
I do the same thing that you did. All right, ready.
The cheese eating surrender monkeys.
Okay, you already said that there are guidelines on what you're supposed to do, and they broke the guidelines. So yes, you're allowed to complain.
It's 5
if they
decibels.
break the guidelines.
It's 5
They didn't
decibels
stick
much.
to what they were supposed to do. So they could just go, well, so then it's 5, and then next week it's 10, and then next it's 15. They are absolutely within their rights to complain about that if they did not follow the procedures they were supposed to do. And are you telling me really in the 60s that they would have had 50 events between April and June? You're crazy. There is no way they had that. I don't understand how they're having so many events in that short period of time. I'd be pissed as well.
50 events, granted, 50 times.
50 times, okay.
That could be every single time that a car went past that part of the track.
Okay. I thought you meant they had 50 events. I was going to say, geez, I'd be pretty pissed as well at that point.
Bearing in mind, on a Grand Prix weekend, Graham, for example, it's a prime example. Grand Prix is at Silverstone this weekend. Fantastic. 180,000 crowd in there for a COVID test event. And there's going to be there's racing every day from Thursday through to Sunday, and there's about 7 or 8 different formulas. Stop yawning like that, Graham. It's not that bad. Okay, so it's going to be probably around 30-40 times it would technically breach noise regulations if it was held in that track at that period of time. So that would not be on the imagination, to be fair.
Okay. So you're supporting rule breakers is what you're saying. All right, I wanted to...
No. What I'm saying is that if the house was there after the track was, if you move into the house knowing there's a track there, you should expect it. That's why if you move into a house underneath Heathrow, you should expect a plane flying over your head.
Has there been any increases in technology in motorcar racing in the last 60 years, would you say?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
They're quieter.
So would you say they've probably got faster and probably louder, therefore?
Actually, they got quieter, Graham. That's one of the complaints nowadays, actually, from motorsport fans.
As soon as I said it, I was like, oh, crap, that's probably one of the things
That's actually one of the things that fans hate. They're quieter.
They want electric cars going around?
No, the F1 fans want...
Hey, that would have been a great devil's advocate. That's the way around it. They just start racing electric cars now, right?
They're actually Formula E, Graham. Yeah, I could debate that one quite heavily. But let's see what you want to talk about, sir.
Well, I said I moved something that was originally bad, and I put it in my unsure moment. So let me get to what that was. I actually, like I said, I didn't just watch top 10 highlights this week. I actually watched shows, and I know it's a thing, but I don't normally watch as much as I did this week. The picture-in-picture thing. Now, I actually originally really liked it, and I didn't. The reason I liked it was it's like, oh, we're going to cut to commercial. And then they come back 3 minutes later, and they're in like a totally different part of the ring, or somebody's like, well, what the hell happened in that 3 minutes? And sure, the commentator can keep you up, but it's like, I want to see what's happening. And obviously, during the picture-in-picture, you can see exactly what goes on. Now, the reason it's partly in my unsure thing is, you obviously don't get a full commercial. Like in the old days, your commercial would be all the way on the screen. Now, the way they do it for AEW is like they take up about half the screen, and then they have the picture-in-picture on the side, and it's... Do they pay for? You're probably not going to know the answer to this, but it's like I say, it's my unsure thing. I don't know the answer to this. What percentage do they pay compared to a regular commercial to have that? Are they aware when they buy their commercials, hey, look, you're not getting a full screen. You're actually getting like a third of the screen or whatever it is. I'm not sure. The other thing, I'm going to carry on with the theme. I didn't like how AEW did it. They had a really strange way. Like, they had the commercial and then they had the picture by the side. But the picture was smaller than the commercial, but it was also like not the same size. Like one rectangle was much bigger than the other rectangle. NXT had the commercial, they had the action, and then they had the NXT logo next to it to make one complete rectangle, which I thought NXT did it much better. Now, I'm also still unsure about this because I'm guessing commercials traditionally, like when there's a commercial in Britain, that's when you go and make yourself a cup of tea, right?
Correct.
You're like, I'm going to wait. So you leave. Obviously, other people, you take a bathroom break, you go to the toilet, you grab a snack. I'm just wondering, do people even watch it anyway? Is the picture-in-picture thing that big of a deal? I think I'd prefer it not to have it, actually, to be honest. And that really surprises me. I didn't think that's something I would say. I think I actually like it where it leaves it. You have that little bit of suspense building up, and you're like, well, what's happening now? I don't know what's happening while you're
Well,
getting your drink. And then they come back, and then the commentators can say, during the commercial, this is what. It gives the commentators a 3-minute break as well, where they don't have to speak. I know you don't have to speak on the commercial, but but then they can kind of tell their story as something to involve them. And I think I actually prefer having that suspense for a few minutes. I didn't think that I thought that, but when I was watching a picture-in-picture this week, I hated it. I didn't like it.
I'm gonna give you some insight here, Graham.
Okay.
Okay, because you may not be aware of this. In the UK, we still get full ad breaks, even during AXT.
Oh, okay.
We don't even get in picture.
Huh.
And you say about them getting a break. It used to be the case, especially when ITV had the coverage of the F1. The world feed for the F1 coverage, certainly back in the 90s and early 2000s, the commentators were commentating for the entirety without a break, even when it went to break, because other countries weren't taking an ad break at those times.
Oh, I didn't even think about that side of it.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, for example, when Sky and now BT were showing the referee coverage here, they will cut to the breaks at the same time, but sometimes they'll come back halfway through an advert break because they come back.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
we don't even get the picture-in-picture thing. That was one of the biggest things we didn't like with the F1 coverage on ITV, for example, is that there was no in-picture-in-picture thing. I went to Spain with my family back in 2007, and they had the British Grand Prix, ironically, on TV in the bar. The barman even had me program it all in for him and everything. And watching it, it goes to a break. I thought, okay, this is my time to go to the bar for a drink.
Yeah.
And they went picture in picture. I'm like, we don't have this in home. The
Yeah.
only country in the world that doesn't have picture in picture is the UK.
Wow. Oh, well, I'm actually glad I mentioned it then. And like I say, it doesn't normally affect me because I don't watch live anyway because I don't have cable. So if I'm watching it, it's kind of a little different anyway. It's the Hulu highlights or something.
Mm.
Huh.
And
Interesting.
also, since I've been living with Chris, actually, I watch a lot more TV now. I'm obsessed with Bake Off, for example. And for that, I've got Wheels on Demand, so we just fast forward the adverts. Or if you're watching, like for example, if you're watching on the Bake Off sort of thing, the adverts will be in the first break, and then everyone after that, it will literally be like credits going out, and straight away credits go back in again. So advertising is not even a thing on demand sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in fairness to you, you've been moved in during a pandemic, so you've been kind of forced to stay in a little bit
I
more
did.
than normal.
I
So.
even during the first period of the pandemic, I haven't watched TV like I'm watching TV now since I lived at home 10 years ago.
Hmm, hmm.
It's wonderful like that, Graham. Right, I think I've workshopped this devil's advocate for you.
Okay.
The only reason I want to see Space Jam 3 is not because The Rock's going to be in it, but because I might get to see more Lola Bunny.
Absolutely. Who doesn't love the animated? If you're going to go watch an animated thing, you obviously want to see the animated person themselves. Who better than, I don't even know her name, Lola Bunny? I couldn't even hear what you said, and I can't remember because it's so long since I've seen the original one. By the time they get to it, Rock's going to be in his 60s. He's not going to be a credible wrestler anyway. So, yeah, you're clearly going to need the animated characters to be the people you want. Yeah.
Done. Bang. Not bad, Graham.
I didn't realize when you said you're working on one on the fly, I didn't realize it was from something I said earlier. I guess I should have realized that was true.
And not only that, Graham, by that time, Rock would have completed both his terms of president, so it's fine.
Yeah, it might be too late. And I don't know if Rox has any interest even in doing this. I think it's
He
more the
he
director saying that he would like
he
to.
was asked once if he would do it, if he would stand
Ah,
for president. He was actually asked on a chat show, and he said, "I'm like it's something that I have interest in doing, so but I need what's the thing? Oh, that's right, experience. So
yeah.
maybe I'd go for something a bit lower down first before I just go for the White House." And
Uh-huh.
That's the most sensible thing I've ever heard someone say. Because that was clearly a shot at 45. We won't say his name on this show.
Well, I already did earlier, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you said that flagging him off. Speaking, so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. On note of that, I'm pleased to see that the FBI and people are clearing up more of a mess from January. More people being locked up for it, which is good.
Yep. I got a couple of things to still share with you.
Yes, go for it.
Surprisingly, I had a video game theme this time. Netflix is planning to expand into the world of video games, making its first big move beyond films and TV shows. The streaming service has hired former EA and Facebook executive Mike Verdu to lead the effort. Netflix hopes to offer video games on its streaming platform within the next... Oh, Matt's covering his face. Within the next year. Probably because you won't get that on Netflix UK. That's probably why you...
No, that's not why, Graham. You've just sworn at me.
Oh, I did? How?
Yeah,
Oh, did I say
EA.
EA or something?
Yeah.
I apologize. I didn't realize that was an offensive phrase.
Do you know who EA is, Graham?
You're in the game.
Yeah, EA Sports, infamous for making sure you open your wallets, buy the game, and then buy more of the game because we didn't miss all the game because the real game means you spend money in the shops to never ever link your credit card to a console, Graham. Trust me from experience.
Okay. I had one other thing that I saw.
I like the idea about streaming games though.
Literally a few minutes before I came on air, an article from Nick Taylor Vicey, July 13th, 2021. This is not normally something that would catch my eye, but I can't remember the exact headline, which is part of the problem. I just took a few notes from it. He's a video gamer, and he set the record for the fastest completion of Super Mario 3. The record was 70 minutes and 1 second, and he actually beat it by 3 seconds to make it 69 minutes and 58 seconds. So that's kind of where it starts off. This was achieved on February 7th. He's a 33-year-old Canadian gamer. I don't know if you're familiar with him. I know there's certain people who are super famous.
Graham, we don't all know each other. Okay.
I know that. That's why I'm asking. I don't know how famous he is. Obviously, he's a world record holder. That was why I was.
I have not heard of him personally.
Okay.
But bearing in mind, I've tried doing speed runs like that before. In fact, when I went to EGX, when you covered for me, the whole stage. I mean, an actual stage with actual people sitting watching people speed running. So.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of the thing. So that was the phrase. Fowler is a speedrunner, the name for gamers who obsessively search for optimal paths and exploit glitches that save precious seconds to post the fastest time. So I wasn't familiar with that phrase, but that was very mathematical. That's what optimal paths, that's your shortest path method. That's your quickest, there's a lot of game theory there. There's a lot of mathematics there, and that was kind of what got me into, I was like, oh, I'm going to read into this one. I read a bit more into the article. It was kind of a long article. I do remember this story as well. British neuroscientists studied the brains of cab drivers in the sprawling city of London. They discovered that the process of memorizing thousands of streets and routes expanded a driver's hippocampus, the part of the brain in the temporal lobe that plays a major role in memory formation. And the cabbies' brains were physically larger. I thought this was fantastic. Anyway, Jonathan Hay, a visiting lecturer at the University of Chester who studies post-humanism, calls speedrunning an artistic pursuit of perfection that casts players as artists unlike any other, whipping up frenzied audiences who are encouraged to be vocal. Naki likens the experience to a more traditional art form. Speedrunning is like a beautiful painting. It's like watching Bob Ross, he says. I find it quite relaxing. I'm actually curious. Like, I've jumped on my niche guys a couple of times just to say hi and not really pay any attention to it. I think this might actually be my sort of way into video games, possibly. I want to see some of this speedrunning, actually. I'm kind of interested to see the thought process of the... I like this looking for the optimal solution to a problem. I always think of video gaming as just mucking around and playing for fun. The fact that there is a little bit more to it than that, I'm actually really interested in this. I'm gonna go check this guy out, I think. Or if you want to recommend some other speed running sites or whatever. I know you didn't expect me to talk about video games, which is also why it was a perfect thing to mention as well.
Stay away from my child. Gaming is my baby, Graham. And the amount you've dissed it over the last 3
Oh,
years.
you've been talking about disc. You talk about disc golfing whenever you get the chance. So
I haven't dissed it since. I have not dissed it in over a year.
I didn't disc gaming then.
No, but you did.
About gaming.
No, but the first time you've been put about gaming in the free we've been podcasting together, Graham.
It's not the first time.
First time you've done it with a smile on your face because there's mathematical equations involved in it. Jesus Christ. Speed running, it is an art form which I have not got the dexterity for. I will say one thing about it is that 95% of them are cheats. So
I did see one part where he
exploiting
said exploiting a glitch.
Exploiting a glitch is cheating. And if you're exploiting a glitch, then
I assume that doesn't count as the world record if you exploit the glitch.
Does.
It does? So programmers are deliberately going to put things in like that then, so they can share with their friend, hey, up, left, A, B.
That's a cheat exactly. Well, the glitch is more like a unintentional glitch in the programming where you can there's been nothing to you, Graham. There's a part in Mario 64 where you can actually jump backwards off a if you speed run backwards off jumping backwards, you can actually go to the last level. I think that's right. I've only played one of Mario 64 to be fair.
Fair enough.
I'm gonna get shouted at by someone in a minute if I keep quoting that wrong. So I'm saying I think that's right. I'm probably wrong. My advice to you, Graham, would be if you're interested in speed running, then just type speed running into YouTube and you'll find a plethora of them.
His record got beat by 326 milliseconds. Ouch. That's got to be pretty painful.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same thing in baseball. If you're getting close to a perfect game, which rarely happens, I think there's only been 25 in 120-year history, something like that. When you're getting close to it or a no-hitter, people don't say anything to you. Like the people on the bench move away from you. Nobody speaks to the pitcher because they don't want to jinx it, as it were. He said when he was actually doing this, he didn't even realize he was on for a record. And about 10 minutes to go, someone said, "Oh, your pace is really good. You might beat the world record." And he's like, "Yeah, but you only need one thing to go wrong, and it can mess it up." And you didn't know if so. I don't know if it's a similar thing in gaming. You don't jinx it, or you don't talk about records. You stay quiet.
The only time I've ever done a speed run in my life was for
KFC.
There is a thing called you've heard of Lego Star Wars. I think you've heard of Lego, or you've heard of Star Wars. They did a Lego Star Wars video game. Okay, a complete saga.
Did you just ask me if I'd heard of Lego and Star Wars?
In terms of a combination,
I think you need that. Patronize a little prick.
Well, Grandpa, there is a Lego Star Wars video game, which is of course all of the 6 original films, the 6 films. And once you've finished all of the game, you get there is a thing called achievements or trophies on certain consoles, depends on what you got. And it's designed to make the game replayable. So you keep playing the game to unlock these things. And the last one I had to do for Lego Star Wars was complete the entire game in 60 minutes. Had a few goes at it. The closest I ever got, 60 minutes, 2 seconds.
Oh, ouch. Oh, that is painful.
I've never attempted it since.
And that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I was pissed. Mainly because the cutscenes, you can't skip them. Cutscenes, that's a whole different kettle of fish.
Mm-hmm.
A game called Metal Gear Solid 4 has a 45-minute cutscene which you can't skip.
That's dumb.
That's Graham. Look up Hideo Kojima. He is a lunatic.
Isn't he the reliever for the Red Sox?
No, he's probably the richest Japanese video game creator of all time outside of Nintendo.
Wrong one.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we're done, Graham, pretty much.
I think we are, yep.
Back next week, guys. We're out of here.
Bye. Can't see where record is. It's all you.